So with this, we move ahead and now shift our gears into a format that is a little more dynamic, a little more conversational, and often where some of the most honest, insightful perspectives comes out, a fireside chat. Because sometimes it is these focused conversations that truly unpacks what's working, what is evolving, and what lies ahead. So this next session brings us right to the heart of precision oncology in India, where leadership, clinical excellence, and real-world decision-making come together, which is about building India's blueprint for precision oncology, a leadership conversation. And to lead this conversation, we have someone who has consistently driven meaningful dialogues across the healthcare ecosystem, bringing together the voices, perspectives, and the insights that truly matters. So please join me in welcoming our moderator, Dr. Manisha Khurana, Editor-in-Chief, Voice of Healthcare. Give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And joining her is a pioneer in precision oncology, a leader who not only brings deep clinical expertise, but also played a defining role in shaping the early wave of precision oncology in India over a decade ago. Please welcome Dr. Sewanti Limaye, Director, Medical and Precision Oncology at Sir H. N. Reliance Foundation and Hospital. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Simran. And I have Dr. Sewanti Limaye with me. And key question for today's discussion is how to integrate MAM precision oncology into clinical practice.
Sure.
And
so I think this forum is very unique. It's dedicated to precision. It's a very rare feat to have a precision forum, an entire Sunday dedicated to this. So congratulations and kudos to the work that is being done by Voice of Healthcare. This is the third time that I got invited and the first time that I could make it. So thank you truly for having me. It's a proud privilege. Answering your question, integration of precision. So a person like myself is actually quite opinionated. I haven't come this far without that kind of thought process. I feel, and you can write this down, this is a quote that has been there from me everywhere. Whenever I'm asked, this is what I say: there is no other way of practicing oncology. It is precision oncology. There is no other oncology existent. The only way to practice oncology should be precision oncology. You have to do the right thing for your patient. It has to be the right drug for the right patient, right time, every time.
right. So I think that is so catching. So ma'am, you have to tell me that what were the turning points in your journey while treating the patients that made you believe in this?
So I was actually very fortunate. I got oriented to precision very early in my career. And I don't want to bore people, but this is a young mind. My first month as internship at Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. And at the end of that month, the impact into oncology, the impact into being called to do data collection for 2,000 advanced breast cancer patients that were HER2 positive. I only look back now and realize that that's when I actually got enrolled in the precision camp. If I think about it, that was my enrollment, but I didn't realize it then. And it was as a young intern, I would travel 40 minutes at another center. I would go to Sloan Kettering Cancer Center where I was doing this work. And I would fall asleep at the desk collecting the data, but patient after patient after patient, there was this drug and there was this pathway. And the patients who had the pathway and who got the drug, and Jose Baselga was world-renowned scientist, physician who had discovered trastuzumab. and how trastuzumab would change the future for these patients, and stage 4 patients would then walk away with complete response that lasted for years together. So that was a transformation and my indoctrination, I would say, and I never left that camp. But I always say this, I came into oncology because of the spirit of oncology, not because of the science, which takes me away from the precision science, because it's the patient who's the seeker, who wishes to live, who fights at the face of death and dying. And precision actually serves the last phase of cancer journey, which is the advanced cancers. And that's where the spirit of oncology is most important, and that's how I got oriented.
Right. So picking up from that, as you said that we're moving from protocol-based to biomarker-based treatment. So where do we stand today in India?
I think we've come a long way. 10 years ago, I came back to India and I came with the thought process that my career was over because I wouldn't be able to do the so-called expensive tests, the broad panel sequencing, and I was already doing comprehensive genomics when I landed here. And for me, hotspot panels were, not game. And I thought, where am I going to get that? And probably my career is going to be dead, and my career as a researcher is going to be dead. And it's that day, and it's today. And I think India is giving back the answer to the world. And I think India is going to continue to give, and India's answer is going to be so loud, no one will be able to ignore.
Okay. Thank you for that round of applause. So again, precision oncology sounds promising in theory, right? So what has been your experience, ma'am, while treating the patients in real world?
So I have now walked this journey as a believer, and I've walked this journey for a very long time. And talking about orientation, right at Sloan Kettering, when I was working as an intern, I would see this cohort of patients that were BRCA positive, and that they would develop the next cancer between 2 screenings. So even when they were getting screened, and these were Ashkenazi Jew families that were housed in there, and sheets of patients would just get diagnosed with diseases and Lynch syndrome and all of that, and very early in my career affected by that, and the brain totally oriented to biomarker-driven treatment. And then I went on to become an early drug development clinician, where as a phase 1 clinical trialist, it was all biomarkers, so it was hot shock protein 90, and it was the OX40, and you had trials mainly for those inhibitors. And so these were directed immunotherapy, to get directed targeted therapy, and you got completely oriented to that. With that, coming into India, continuing to keep that faith and keep the orientation, and shutting off my regular clinic to only keep access to Sewanti Limaye through Precision Clinic, and then the concept of precision, which was going to be dead, bringing in more work to me and helping me climb the so-called ladder in India of a private practitioner. But somewhere in the journey where there were so many successes, I also have gone through a personal loss and a cynical period where, after losing my mother to advanced lung cancer that was HER2 positive, and my HER2 journey, my journey into precision started with HER2. And when I talk about the HER2 pathway, I also I was the national co-PI, co-chair for Arm B of NCI MAT study, the most ambitious ever, the most expensive ever clinical trial by NCI USA, where we were nominated as a junior faculty. That was also a HER2 arm. So my HER2 journey, actually, when I saw my mom got diagnosed with HER2 positive advanced lung cancer, she was a non-smoker, it was very hard hitting. It was a blow in my belly, and that brought me full circle with precision. I feel It started as a journey of my life, a story of my life, and then culminating into this where I was revisiting my own solidarity, my own internal dogma that precision was going to solve everything. And right in my face was my mother's diagnosis. And that brought me to the realization that precision is the only way to treat patients, but precision is not 100% perfect. It's a journey that is continuing, and it is a journey of discovery. It is a journey of discovery of a cancer that is a 9-headed hydra I talk about, and Prashant talks about this, and ever-changing, and the 10 heads of the Shanana, and the 4 legs of the elephant, and how cancers are transforming, and if you leave them in the body, they will transform to have 100 faces. And that's where recognizing all these faces, and I'm a very big proponent of multi-pathway treatment, and I practice multi-pathway now. We are about to, with Dr. Prashant from Datar, we are going to publish 1,000 patient data on multi-pathway therapy that we have practiced for the last 10 years. And so we are really going to give back to the world a lot of new data in precision, and we are practicing cutting-edge precision, but the defeats are definitely there. And I feel the defeat is because the disease is so complicated, not because the science is at fault. The science is growing. It's not a perfect world, and we have to approach our patients in an imperfect world with an imperfect test, with less drugs in an imperfect world and environment. But nevertheless, we are fighting, and the precision is the only way to fight. Having said that, there are limitations to precision, and the reason why I lost my mom 2 years ago was because alongside her too, she had an FGFR amplification. And that co-targeting of HER2 with N-HER2 and FGFR amplification with erdafitinib was impossible. My mother was 73, she was very symptomatic, and it became a huge challenge to give two drugs together. So we talk multi-pathway, and we think, you know, these 2 pathways, and you give these 2 drugs, and everything is going to get solved. But it doesn't happen like that. And there are feasibility issues. There are issues with being able to deliver it into that patient. And those are the limitations of an oncologist. And I actually lived it personally for my mom. Finally, I will finish this with optimism, because that's who I am. That's who my mother taught me to be. And the optimist in me tells me that the journey is just on. It's just arriving. And there is so much more to happen with wonder drugs like ADCs, with wonder drugs like the novel cellular therapeutics that are coming in. There is a lot of hope on the horizon, and that's what I would like to believe.
Right. Thank you. So my next question is, of course, that genomics, biomarkers, molecular diagnostics, these are powerful tools, but integration is complex. So how can we do that? How can we do that in India specifically?
I think it's the first thing, when you think of it, the more you know, and I said this to Khushbu when she was inviting me, I gave her a very hard time. I said, what's new? Why should I come? And, I would like to revisit that. And I would say that the orientation has to change. We have, cancer is a battle. My nani used to say, Jeevan hai sangram. Himmat se lo kaam. So, sangram is battle. Jeevan, life itself is a battle. Cancer is a bigger battle. In that battlefield, if we are the soldiers and we are supposed to save some lives, we have to first identify who's going to survive. And we can't leave those behind. We cannot. So a quick recognition, quick realization, quick testing to understand which is that patient that you may be able to save is most critical. So I think that orientation has to be there. You know, when you look at a lung cancer stage 4 patient, the first thought that should come to your mind, smoker, non-smoker, pathway, non-pathway. Do I throw in a targeted therapy? Is this patient going to be an immunotherapy candidate? Then comes the question of feasibility. How are you going to make it happen? But I think we have to change the lens with which we are seeing our patient. We have to look at them with the lens of precision so that we can quickly identify and quickly treat so that we can get the best outcomes. So the orientation is where we are lacking, and that's where voice of healthcare is most important.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So it's a hypothetical question now. If we fast forward a decade, what does a mature precision oncology ecosystem in India look like to you, and what are the milestones we must achieve?
So I think for India, and this is a realization that came through my mom's journey, I realized that no matter what I was doing as my day job, my other job had to be enhancing cancer awareness. My other job had to be enhancing participating in screening measures. My other job had to be enhancing easier ways of screening measures. And I have been a researcher participating with 2 companies, homegrown companies, Datar and Strand, from their inception of this thought process of multi-cancer early detection, liquid biopsy for cancer screening for early detection. But actually, I was just a bystander. I had never internalized this. I was doing it because it was a good research project, and here in India, research projects are difficult to find. And so I would partner, I would put down my time, I would contribute my time to understand what this technology was and contribute to it as a clinician, and I've partnered with them to help design the flow of what happens if the test comes positive, and what should be the clinical flow, and what are the tests, and what are the problems of the psychology of screening. And I was just a bystander walking this path with them. I was not owning the subject. It had to be this personal hit where I realized no matter what I do in precision, no matter what energy I put down in seeing my patients through the day, the better strategy would still be to make people aware, to advance screening, to make screening lighter, more accessible, to early detect. And that's where I feel the field is going, and that is what I feel will be a game changer. Because early detection, you know, I'm going to say early detection saves lives. Yeah, we read it everywhere. But how do we make that happen when globally 2/3 of cancers, and in India 75% of our cancers are getting detected in advanced stages? So precision is overburdened. Precision is overwhelmed. People who are practicing medical oncology are overwhelmed. Systems are overwhelmed of stage 4 patients, of symptoms that stage 4 brings. It is overwhelming. The panic with which a patient gets diagnosed with a spread cancer is overwhelming. So I think the field is going to move towards early detection, and liquid biopsies for early detection are going to play a very large role. You have to watch that space, and I feel people ask me what is going to be the future of precision 10 years later, and I say it's liquid biopsy and it's cancer vaccines, because I feel that these 2 things are really going to change the horizon of cancer medicine, and they're also going to change the horizon for outcomes in cancer. So I'm an optimist, and that's your answer. Thank you.
That's right. That's very true. So I have some rapid-fire questions for you. One biomarker or technology that will redefine cancer care in next 5 years.
So I don't have a single answer for this, but I do feel that there is also a challenge that is on the horizon, which is coming, which is actually not a challenge, it's a great thing, which is beyond the whole concept of biomarker-driven therapy. And I mention this here because it's an opportunity. I was invited to speak at AACR, the American Association of Cancer Research, where my talk was after this trial that was getting presented. And the trial is called the DART trial, D-A-R-T. And DART trial showed how in rare cancers, dual immunotherapy brought in response rates that were unheard of in the range of 40 to 50% in cancers where you couldn't even think of running clinical trials, they were so rare. And they gave nivolumab and ipilimumab, a combination immunotherapy to these patients, but the environment was such that the trial had to be run without biomarker selection. So a trial run without biomarker selection, just with an umbrella application of dual immunotherapy, brought response rate of 40 to 50% in cancers that would never have seen immunotherapy because they don't express these biomarkers, the immune biomarkers. So I think the answer to your question is long-winded, but I think there is so much happening in cancer medicine that one could answer with a biomarker. And the current rage is with TROP2, and TROP2. But I think beyond biomarker, there is an entire world developing, including the ADCs, where we actually are unable to prove that there is a TROP2 depth of expression that leads to the response. I have a patient on Enhertu, another ADC, currently, touchwood, responding to Enhertu when her disease is not even ultra low HER2 positive. So point is, there are so many things that are still waiting to be discovered. Maybe the higher form of precision testing will answer these questions. But right now, if you ask about one biomarker, it's a long-winded answer.
Only oncologists can say this.
Yes.
All right. So, ma'am, one biggest myth about precision oncology in India.
Biggest myth would be that precision is only an expensive treatment. So much of precision can be practiced at a very low cost, because when you have to save cost, it is also knowing which drug will work for which patient. I see patients coming with years of therapy and nobody has done the testing for them. I see patients coming not just with chemotherapy, immunotherapy, given, I had a recent patient, early 30s, 13 gamma knife surgeries done on the brain. But nobody had tested a second time. The first time the patient was not found to have a finding. An Asian woman non-smoker has to have a finding. And RNA fusions are not easy to detect. Someone should have tested again. Just on the second testing, the patient is ROS1 and responding to ROS-directed therapy. But I think the biggest myth is precision is expensive. Who's going to test?
Right. So one barrier you wish could disappear overnight.
I do wish that, yes. Oh, so one barrier would be the testing barrier in India. I think the testing barrier is a very big barrier, and I would like to recognize Dr. Kumar Prabhash sir here, because they have set up the Lung Alliance, and I was at the Muzaffarpur meeting, and he brought forward that they've tested 5,000 lung cancer patients free of cost. And I appealed in that meeting that they should also look at a Precision Alliance where funding could bring in testing for free for the general cancers, not just lung.
Right. And again, combination therapies, AI or liquid biopsy, your top bet for future?
So AI is raging, and I think it is only natural for all of us to join that bandwagon. Just as of yesterday, there was a featured article in Meta Trend, and it said the world is bifurcating, and there was a lovely image to that, and it was AI, those who would get on the train for AI and those who won't. The world is going to be divided like that. And I am from the previous era, and that dates me, but I am from the era where internet or no internet, cell phone or no cell phone. We have been there and seen that, and I think there is going to be no question. I mean, I think my son, who's in 8th grade, has an exoskeleton, and that exoskeleton is AI. So I think that's how they're going to grow up, and we better, jump on that bandwagon, or else we'll be left behind.
And one last question.
Please.
One message you would like to give to young oncologists.
My message is where I started. There is no other way. You have to look at the start. Even before the patient makes it into your room, you have to think precision. Thank you.
So with that note, I thank you all for listening us.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope I've made the loudest pitch for precision.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It is a perspective like these that not only inform but inspire the way forward for precision oncology in India. Now, ma'am, would request you to please stay back for a felicitation ceremony. I would request Dr. Manisha to kindly do the honors. May I have the certificate, please? And ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for this amazing, insightful session. And I believe you must have gained a lot of, insights and perspective of what Dr. Limaye believes in. May I request Dr. Naveen Nishal to please come on stage and felicitate Dr. Manisha Khurana for exceptionally moderating and leading this conversation. Ma'am, we'll have a group picture. So, yeah. Now let's have a group picture to capture this moment. Thank you.